crochet back loop only ribbing. I make my ribbing most of the times with a smaller hook. So in this particular project I'm working with a 4mm hook, so I'm going to continue with a 3.5mm hook because I like my ribbing to be nice and tight. So for the base we are going to make chains. I want a ribbing of 10 stitches, so I make 11 chains. I'm going to skip my first chain. Yes. I'm going to skip the first chain and then single crochet in all the next chains. So if you want a more tighter ribbing, you take a smaller hook, or else you just continue with the hook size that you were working with. So it all depends on the yarn that you are using and the fit that you like. So now I'm back at the ends, and now I'm going to continue on the sweater, and I make slip stitches in my next 2 stitches. And now we are going to turn to the wrong side and make sure that your yarn is in front of your work. Now we are going to look at the back, where we're going to skip the 2 slip stitches and to make a single crochet in the back loop of my last single crochet. And into the next 8 stitches. So now I have 9 single crochets in the back loop, and I have 1 stitch left, and in my last stitch I always make a normal single crochet. This makes the end of the ribbing nicer. Now you can choose between making a turning chain or not. I don't make a turning chain because I want my ribbing to be tight on my body. When you have wider hips, you might want to make a turning chain so that your ribbing is a bit wider than your sweater. So I'm not making a turning chain, so I'm going to turn to the wrong side again, where my yarn is in front of me. I make sure that my yarn is not in the way, because I need to make a single crochet in the back loop of my last single crochet and in all the next stitches. One left, also into the back loop, and we are on the right side of the sweater again. And now I have to make 2 more slip stitches in the next 2 stitches, so not in the one that you already made a slip stitch in. So in the next 2 stitches I'm making a slip stitch. Yeah. It's a bit splitty yarn, this one. So one more. Turning back to the wrong side again. So I think I made a mistake in my previous one that was on the right side, and now we are on the wrong side. Again, my yarn is in front of my work, in front of my hook, skipping the 2 slip stitches and making a single crochet in the back loop of my last single crochet. And in the next 8 stitches. Because again, in my last stitch I will be making a normal single crochet. Now we are going to turn again to the right side of the work with the yarn in front, taking it back so that it's not in the way, because I need to make a single crochet in that back loop. So I'm just taking my yarn like this and then making a single crochet in the back loop and into the back loop of all the next stitches. And in the last one, now we are again back at the sweater at the base, so of the body, so slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. You just need to continue this all the way around. So for this ribbing you need to make sure that you have a multiple of 2 stitches. It's not, yeah, I think most patterns are, so that's not a problem. So again, on the wrong side, and a single crochet into my last stitch. So I made a bit more, and this is the part that I have right now. So you see that it is really stretchy, but not so stretchy at the end. So when you make the turning chain, you will have a more stretchy part. I am continuing with a slightly different yarn than I started this this video with, but it's the same stitch, so I will explain further. Now we almost are near the start, and we want to close this ribbing. So this is where I ended, and I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to try to show this a little bit more in close up, like this. So I have 2 stitches left, so 2 times a slip stitch, and now I'm going to turn to the wrong side, taking my yarn also in front of my hook. I will do 1 more row back to this point, so I'm skipping the 2 slip stitches and make back loop single crochets in all next. Except for the last one. In the last stitch I always make a normal single crochet. And now I'm going to make the seam. So we are already on the wrong side, so we need to close the seam on the wrong side. First I'm going to turn my work. So now we look at the right side of our work, and now we can take both right sides on top of each other, like this. But before that, I need to make sure that my yarn is at the back of my work. So not in front anymore, but at the back. Now the tricky part is to find the first chain. I already know that it's this one that you made a single crochet in your row of chains. So I'm going to insert in that stitch and in the back loop of all the single crochets that we just made. So I have this loop on my hook that I just ended with. Made sure that the yarn is at the back. I'm going to insert in this first chain, so that is always through 2 loops of this chain. So exactly at the point where I made a single crochet, and I also insert into the back loop of my last single crochet. Now I'm yarning over and making a making a slip stitch. And now we continue with just inserting in the next chain, and I have 10. So this is my second, also back loop only, making a slip stitch. Three, 4, chain, and the back loop. Oops. So we do this for every chain and for every single crochet. I have 2 left, so this last part you really need to. So I see over here that these 2 are of my single crochet that I made into this chain. So it's this chain, and this is my last single crochet. So that's the last stitch, and now I can just fasten off. So I'm just taking my skein through my last loop. So this is the wrong side. Let's look on the right side. Now this is how it looks on the right side. So you will always see a tiny bit that here is my seam. But this is my way of closing the seam of the ribbing. So this you can also put on the sleeves, this ribbing, or on the end of the sweater. So I hope this video was clear, and that you can now make a single crochet back loop ribbing yourself. Well, have fun, and maybe see you soon. Bye bye.